We just had the Mexico City Grand Prix. It was a fun race. Max Verstappen won, and Lewis Hamilton got second. But the guy I want to talk about first in this segment is focusing on Sergio Perez, who got third. This weekend was such a fun opportunity to celebrate Sergio Perez racing in his home race, Mexico City, his home. I saw the promotions. It's fun. Like, I've never seen a racer so prominently at the forefront of a race. Like, something like, welcome to my, I love that. That's fantastic. It's amazing. He's the first ever Mexican driver to get on the podium in Mexico. That's monumental for Sergio Perez. Like, that's stuff you dream about as a kid. As you're a kid dreaming, like, I want to race in Formula One and get a podium in Mexico. That's amazing for him. Well done, Sergio Perez. Fantastic. Especially, you got to remember, Sergio Perez was almost out of Formula One last year. His team replaced him with, Aston Martin, changed the name of their team, and they replaced him with Sebastian Vettel. Sergio Perez almost was not even in Formula One this year. Now he's number 4 in the F1 standings. He just got another podium, and his team, Red Bull, is right at the top of F1. That's fantastic. How cool is it, by the way, to see Sergio driving in Mexico and actually be with a good team who had a shot, like a real shot to win the race? I mean, unlike Force India / Racing Point in prior years, it's just cool to see Sergio Perez on a good team competing in his home race. Oh, man, what a cool opportunity to celebrate Sergio Perez this past weekend. Now, turn 1 of this race was wild because, first of all, drama during qualifying meant, Yuki Tsunoda slowed down Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. So what ended up happening was Max Verstappen started the race in third for this one. And actually, in a weird way, really helped him because it gave him a slipstream behind Valtteri Bottas. He was able to shoot forward, and then Bottas was not very aggressive braking during turn 1. He braked really early, which left the door wide open for Max Verstappen to go around the outside and get into first place. And from that moment on, Max Verstappen dominated this race and won easily. Really cool to see as a person who, I like someone challenging Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton's down a lot right now. And man, it's going to be interesting to see. Anyone can win still. Like, maybe if Max Verstappen does not finish the next race and Lewis wins, we're right back to, Lewis was on top. But turn 1 did not go up for Bottas. He did not brake very well. Then he got hit by Daniel Ricciardo. It got ruled as a racing incident. So Valtteri Bottas spun out. And then suddenly he went from first in the race. He started on top, qualified first, was in the first spot, and then went to last. And Valtteri Bottas' race was basically ruined from turn 1 of this race, which is crazy. Now, the race wasn't that eventful other than Sergio Perez. He led for a lap, making him the first Mexican driver ever to lead a lap in Mexico. Very cool. And then at the end of the race, Sergio Perez was in third, chasing down Lewis Hamilton. And it was the gap was getting closer and closer, more and more narrow. And at one point, Sergio Perez was 0.8 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, who was in second. And you're like, I thought he was going to pass him. And for an instant, it looked like it, and then it didn't quite work out. So that was interesting and fun. I do want to give a shout out to Fernando Alonso. When Bottas spun out, he was surrounded by smoke, and it's kind of like driving through fog. You can't really see what's in front of you. And Fernando Alonso going full tilt. Suddenly, bam! Valtteri Bottas appears in front of him. You're like, oh crap! And he had to swerve out of the way and barely missed him. And really good driving by Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso, man, I would love to see him drive for a really good team because, dude, it's so clear that Fernando Alonso is one of the, I think it's him, Lewis Hamilton, and Max Verstappen is the top 3 drivers right now in Formula One. Fernando Alonso is so much, he's overperforming so much beyond what the Alpine car is capable of, and he's a tough dude to pass. I mean, oh my gosh, I have so much respect for Fernando Alonso. So Max won. Lewis got second. Sergio Perez got third in the race. Ferrari got 5th and 6th. Charles Leclerc was 5th. Carlos Sainz was in 6th. McLaren got 10th and 12th. So the battle for third right now, McLaren versus Ferrari. Lando Norris got 10th. Daniel Ricciardo got 12th. Here are the driver standings after Mexico in Formula One. Max Verstappen is in first with 312.5 points. Lewis Hamilton is in second with 293.5 points. Valtteri Bottas still in third. He's got 185 points. And Sergio Perez is in fourth place with 165 points. Here are the constructors' standings. The battle between Mercedes and Red Bull is really, really heating up. Mercedes is in first with 478.5 points. Red Bull's in second with 477.5 points. 1 point divide Mercedes and Red Bull right now. And oh my gosh, imagine if they won. And if Red Bull won and Max Verstappen won, like Mercedes' dominance would have been broken up by a year. It would have been incredible. So if that happens, that'd be incredible. So I'm really, really fascinated what will happen the rest of the year with Red Bull and Max Verstappen. Now, the battle for third, Ferrari has 268.5 points there in third right now. McLaren's in fourth, pushing for third. McLaren has 255 points. So 268.5 for Ferrari, 255 for McLaren. McLaren and Ferrari, they're battling. Ferrari got the best of them this past weekend in Mexico. And then in fifth place, Alpine is tied with AlphaTauri with 106 points. So interesting stuff there. I did not expect the battle for fifth to be as interesting as it will be between Alpine and AlphaTauri the rest of the year. If I was a betting man, look, Pierre Gasly's great. Fernando Alonso, though, I have a hard time betting against Fernando Alonso. It'll be very interesting to see does AlphaTauri or Alpine end up in fifth at the end of this year in Formula One. My final notes from this race, I had a thought this race. I mean, Valtteri Bottas gets spun out, race comes to an end. I just maybe kind of realized how pumped I was to see George Russell drive for Mercedes next year. Nothing against Valtteri Bottas. I just realized, I'm so excited to watch George Russell in a really good Mercedes car and see what he's capable of. That'll be really, really fun. And then number two, I someday want to interview someone who worked on a pit crew in Formula One. Like maybe someone retired who can really be honest and say whatever they want. But I have so many questions about how a pit crew prepares for pit stops and what does that look like. And man, it's so interesting to me. The Mexico Grand Prix was really, really fun and Red Bull had 2 great stops. I would love to talk to someone who worked on a pit crew someday. But that's all I have. Those are my thoughts on the Mexico City Grand Prix. It was fantastic. It was a fun race. And I want Lewis Hamilton to win the next one. I want to see Lewis Hamilton continue to keep it interesting with Max Verstappen. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see Max Verstappen win this year. I think it'd be cool to see Max break up the monopoly that is and the dominating force that is Mercedes. But I don't want it to be a blowout. I want Lewis to really challenge him. I want it to come down to the final race. And so I personally find myself rooting for Lewis Hamilton in the next race. I want that to be more interesting. I don't want Max Verstappen to run away with it easily. So despite rooting for Max long term, I do want fun, interesting races. And so I want Lewis to win the next one.